This is the second video about agreement. This one in particular is about pronoun agreement and indefinite pronouns. Just like subjects and verbs need to agree, pronouns also need to agree with their antecedents. And what is an antecedent, you may ask? And an antecedent is simply the noun that comes before the pronoun and to which that pronoun subsequently refers. And all of that is a lot of words just to say the pronoun is referring to an antecedent or a noun that comes before it. In this example, Jem loved to play football. He daydreamed about it constantly. He is our pronoun. Jem is the antecedent. And the basic rule with pronouns and antecedents is much like the subject-verb agreement rules. The pronoun needs to agree with its antecedent in number and in gender. So if we have a plural antecedent, we need a plural pronoun as well as a plural verb. The students were happy about their test scores. So here we have a plural antecedent, and that antecedent in this particular case is students, and they were happy about their test scores. So theirs referring to that plural student. A singular antecedent, on the other hand, requires a singular pronoun. So if we change that students to student, we need to identify a singular student, and in traditional grammar, we would use his or her test scores. If you see this on an ACT test, you would want to use his or her. Common usage is becoming their rather than his or her, but on an ACT and any sort of standardized testing that you'll take, you'll be expected to use the singular his, her form. Indefinite pronouns have the same rules of agreement that subjects and verbs do. In the case of indefinites, they must agree with the antecedent in number, and this is where it becomes important to recognize immediately what a singular indefinite pronoun is versus a plural indefinite pronoun. And we have the chart here with all of our singular indefinite pronouns, so we know that because they're singular, they need to have a singular pronoun following them. So they're functioning like the subject in a sentence, and that's why they're called indefinites. You don't necessarily have a name attached to that pronoun, but it is functioning as the subject of the sentence and as the antecedent to a later pronoun. And so we have a singular antecedent here, every one, and therefore we need the singular pronoun to replace it. And this is what I was talking about in the previous slide. Everyone must bring their own iPad to class. This is becoming common practice. However, it is not traditional, and it won't show up on an ACT or other standardized tests. So you do need to understand why these rules are in place. The plural indefinite pronouns, both, few, many, and several, require plural pronouns when they follow. So here I gave you an example where I have an actual proper noun as the antecedent. I have Jeff and Tony needed to practice for a tournament. Both, so we know that we have two people here, brought their clubs to the driving range. We don't necessarily even need this sentence. We know that both is always plural, and so we have their as the following pronoun. And the third case, these indefinite pronouns that can be singular or plural, we have to again look at that modifying phrase and decide which pronoun needs to follow the antecedent indefinite pronoun. So all of my antecedents are the first word of these sentences, most, all, some, and none. And because they can be either, they're special, then I have to look at the phrases following. And so here I have most of the students, plural students, their pronoun. All of the class, one class, so singular pronoun. Some of the students earned A's on their assignments. Of the students, again, plural, object of preposition, plural pronoun following that indefinite antecedent. And the last one, none of the pizza was left in its box. None, pizza singular, its singular pronoun following that indefinite antecedent. So this is pronoun agreement with indefinite pronouns, and the rules are pretty standard. You just need to pay attention to what kind of indefinite pronoun you're looking at before you determine which following pronoun you need to use to refer back to that antecedent.